My name is Amelia Lorenz. I'm the community liaisons person for Sinnerman Ensemble. It's been my pleasure to work with Jacob and No Stigma. Get to know his organization. Can I have you both maybe introduce yourselves? And Jacob, would you talk a little bit about what No Stigmas is and how you came to found it? Just a bit about your story.
Sure.
To get started.
Sure. I'm Jacob Moore with No Stigmas, and it started really back in 1987 when I was 7 years old. My dad took his own life, and so as you can imagine, that impacted me greatly. Impacted my development. I became a very anxious child, worried about adult things, as my mom would say. And it really took me, my presence of mind out of my life, my schooling. I wasn't there for. Thanks. Service. Thank you. That's what that is. So it's I just wasn't there for a lot of basic things like this. Multiplication tables and spelling and stuff like that, you know, and I'd act out. I was a misbehaved little child because of stuff that was going on. Anyway, as I developed, as I grew, so did my issues with anxiety, until when I was in high school, I had a full-on anxiety disorder. I was having panic attacks in the middle of classrooms. It was not a cool situation. During my senior year, I became really depressed, and I would leave the house, my room, my bed for days, and I missed so much school that they almost didn't let me graduate from high school. So luckily, my mom recognized what was going on. She had seen some similar things from my dad, and so she took me to treatment. And it was lucky because I just was not, like I said, I wasn't present. I wasn't there, and I didn't really know what was going on. I was just kind of muddling through. So through my 20s, I went on a journey of psychiatrists, doctors, psychologists, medications. I took about 20 different medications, trying to find the right combination during that time. And nothing really worked. I dropped out of community college. I had trouble holding down jobs. It just, it affected my whole life. I did manage to get a good job when I was 27 years old. I was sales, VP of sales for a company, and in charge of a big group, and we were doing really well. And then had another bout of depression, and I missed like 2 weeks of work, and finally the boss, the owner of the company, came to me and he was like, "Jake, what's going on?" And that was the first time that I really told anybody my story, what was going on with me, from beginning to end, and it felt good. But his response was, "Well, Jake, I think that." He said, "Jake, I think that you just have a weak constitution, and maybe this isn't a good fit for you." And that was the time when I just realized people just don't understand, and they don't really. A lot of people can't wrap their mind around what a mental illness is. And so I made up my mind then. I was like, you know what? I gotta change some things. This medication isn't working. What I'm doing isn't working. So I left. I decided to follow my passion, which is acting, and I started doing that full time, voiceover work and front camera work. And I started pursuing other ways of dealing with the depression, which was for me being fit, active, eating well, and eventually, and I'm not recommending this without a doctor and doctor care, but eventually I actually took myself off of medication. I don't take pharmaceuticals anymore. I regulate just based on diet, exercise, and cognitive behavioral therapy. So through this process, I decided as an actor that it was kind of my responsibility to tell my story, because people in general don't like to talk about this stuff, and I had a really hard time finding people who would talk about it, other people who I could kind of have a community with. So by doing that, I realized that helped other people tell their stories, and that's kind of how Stigma was born. It's sort of a grassroots community building exercise. From there, it grew into this online forum called the No Stigmas Project, where people share their stories, poetry, letters, art like you see out in the lobby. And now we're moving into collaborations with live performances. It's really cool. So the next step is, in March we became an Illinois not-for-profit. We're in the process of getting our 501c3 called charity, which is awesome. And what we're planning on doing now is actually training people to be stigma erasers. So people to go out within their own communities and be advocates for mental health awareness and be able to recognize the signs and symptoms of mental health crisis and take proper action, give people the care that they need. Because what I found is that I don't like talking to doctors, I don't like talking to psychiatrists, it doesn't work for me. I like talking to friends and other people who've had similar experiences, that works for me. And I find a lot of people out there that works for them too. So if we can get people on the streets out there in touch with high-risk demographics, really just good. That's it.
Yeah.
Thanks. Get me talking.
And one of the things that I love so much, and I think this is partly serendipity, is I feel like Anna, your play highlights the importance of the work that you are doing, and I feel like your story and the work you are doing really, and knowing about that, hearing about that really adds depth to what we just saw, but also it's the beginnings of an answer. I think there are a lot of unanswered questions in this piece, and I think that the work that you do starts pointing us in the direction of answering. It's great to read.
No, I agree. When I saw this play, like I said last night, the first 10 minutes I was just gripping my own wrists, and I was like I can't do this. Like this is just too much, man. And then by the end of the play, I was just like, they just nailed it. They just nailed it. I mean, you did such a good job of describing what people go through and what friends and family are thinking. That I mean, each character who has their different ways of dealing with it, and the ones who are like, oh, that guy's an asshole, and then the other ones who just can't be around anymore. Like I see it all the time, and you guys did such a good job of portraying that. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys bringing this. That's a lot in 80 minutes, and it's tough not to overdo it. You guys do such a good job of just doing it very well and doing what it is. So that's cool. One thing that I wanted to point out that I said last night is that this story is a unique one, and in a sense that every story is unique, but it's also very common. That what you experienced tonight, what you felt tonight, what you saw tonight happens every year, a million times every year somebody takes their own life. So, if you can imagine what you felt tonight, what you guys do every night, times a million every year, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of 80 minutes or a lot of stuff. But it continues on. You know, my dad died almost 25 years ago, and I still puts him there today. So by plays like this, stories, and hopefully, Stigma Erasers out there, we can help limit death by suicide. Just help people live more lives. Because that's what it's about. Like, surviving is cool, but if you can actually go on to survive, it's awesome. It's awesome. So.
You know, I think, if you don't mind, I was thinking about this, and I've told you, Jake, that I've had 2 friends over the last 5 years, unfortunately, that have committed suicide, and a great deal of onus and focus kind of ends up on the incident itself and asking why. But what really I feel has risen out of that now, what I realize, it's not about the incident and why as much as it is the aftermath and the what now, you know? And it's kind of hard to articulate, but in the what now, but realizing how to move on and how to place that incident somewhere in your life and to make peace with it.
Yeah.
And I thought we saw the beginnings of that tonight. I'm sorry, I'm losing my thought about it. I had a more clarified thought than that about it beyond that, but it is about the what now and not the why. The why is a very hard thing to deal with, but the what now is for those of us who are kind of left behind afterwards in what we do. Sorry.
And just to sort of go off of that, if you guys are okay with this, also providing appropriate supports for the people around, the families and the friends that are affected, like you had said that your father. So I currently work with children that have been abused and neglected. So they've experienced a great deal of trauma in their lives. And so what I would say is the most challenging part is sort of, figuring out how to provide this child with the support and the love and the hope that they need to continue on. And also to train educators and professionals that, no, this isn't ADHD. This is actually trauma. This child has experienced this horrible thing or witnessed this or whatever it is, but that this is a reaction to something much deeper. So it's not, let's just give them some Ritalin and send them on their way. That it's a much